President explains reasons for the establishment of state ministers. Unemployed graduates stage a protest in Colombo. Island-wide power supply restored following the outage. Trump wrong president. Michelle Obama at Democratic Convention. Hello there and welcome to Lunchtime News here on TV1. You're joining me, Devi Paldana. Now to take a look at some local news, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said the appointments of the new state ministers was done with the objective of establishing a people-centered economy in Sri Lanka. President Rajapaksa made this statement during a meeting held at the Presidential Secretariat to review the scope of state ministers.
During the meeting, President Rajapaksa explained the reasons for the establishment of a state ministry for batik and local apparel production. President Rajapaksa also pointed out that the outbreak of COVID-19 across the globe has wreaked havoc in many economies, and until the global economy returns to normalcy, Sri Lanka cannot go forward without developing its domestic economy. President Rajapaksa added that developing the batik and local apparel industry is one of the main targets of the government. The meeting was attended by several factions, including Minister of Industries Vimal Weerawansa and State Minister Dayasiri Jayasekara.
The Joint Unemployed Graduates Union staged a protest opposite the Fort Railway Station today.
The group staged the protest claiming that their names were not included in the list of graduates granted employment that was published by the government yesterday. Meanwhile, the Joint Development Officers Union arrived at the Ministry of National Policies and Economic Affairs today. The group handed over a document requesting the ministry to grant permanent employment to development officers who received development training in 2019. In August and September last year, 16,000 unemployed graduates were recruited as development officers.
Meanwhile, a 9-member committee has been appointed to probe the island-wide power outage which occurred yesterday.
Secretary to the Ministry of Power, Vasant Perera, said that the committee is headed by Professor Rahul Athalage. The committee report is due in 7 days. The first meeting of the committee was held this morning. Meanwhile, the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has requested the CEB to submit an initial investigation report on the cause of the power failure and details of the restoration process within 3 days. Its Director General Damit Kumar Singh added that the CEB has been informed to submit a full report on the blackout within a month. The Ministry of Power said power supply was restored by around 10 p.m. yesterday. Media spokesperson Sulakshana Jayawardena said investigations were still underway to determine what caused the technical issue which led to the blackout. This was the first time an island-wide power outage was experienced after 2016.
The 13 officers of the Police Narcotics Bureau who were arrested on suspicion of drug trafficking have been remanded until the 31st.
The decision was taken after the suspects were produced before the Colombo Chief Magistrate Lanka Jayaratna. None of the suspects currently being held at the Angunuku Palace prison were produced before the court today, and prison officials informed court that they would not be produced before court due to health concerns.
Former Director of the Criminal Investigation Department, SSP Shani Abesekara, was escorted by prison guards to police unit of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the 2019 April 21st attacks. Meanwhile, former Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena also appeared before the police unit of the Commission this morning.
A spokesperson said that the former state minister had appeared before the police unit at around 9:30 this morning. The spokesperson further stated that statements are currently being recorded from him. Meanwhile, former Secretary to the President Udaya R. Senaviratne has been summoned before the Presidential Commission to investigate April 21st attacks at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. According to the spokesperson, former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and former Minister Sagala Ratnayaka have also been summoned to give a statement before the police unit of the Commission to investigate the April 21st attacks. Meanwhile, former President Maithripala Sirisena is scheduled to appear before the Commission on the 26th.
An individual who had attempted to bribe a police officer attached to the Dompe police has been arrested following a tip-off received by the Commission of Inquiry into allegations of bribery and corruption.
The Director of Investigation of the Commission, SSP Padmini Veerasurya, said the bribe was intended to prevent the enforcement of legal action against the suspect in a cannabis case. Meanwhile, an individual who had attempted to receive a bribe from an employee attached to the Labour Office in Kandy has been arrested. According to the Commission, a bribe of 26,000 rupees was solicited to receive a transfer to the Superintendent of Police's office in Kandy and to take over a plot of state land in the Digana area. Meanwhile, a planning officer attached to the Urban Development Authority has been arrested for soliciting a bribe of 50,000 rupees.
Meanwhile, several cabinet ministers and state ministers assumed duties today.
Duminda Dissanayake assumed duties as the State Minister of Solar, Wind and Hydropower Generation Project Development at the Ministry of Power this morning. Former President Maithripala Sirisena was also present at the event. State Minister of Coconut, Kithul, Palmyra, Sesame, Rubber Cultivation and Related Industry Promotion and Export Diversification, Arundika Fernando, assumed duties today.
Another 305 Sri Lankans residing overseas returned to the island this morning. This group was from Jordan and Qatar.
Officials at the Bandaranaike International Airport said 20 Sri Lankans employed at shipping companies in Qatar arrived in the island at about 1:40 a.m. this morning. Another group of 285 Sri Lankans residing in Amman, Jordan, returned to the island at about 4:35 this morning. All those who returned to the island have undergone PCR tests.
3 vehicles with fake number plates were seized in Ratmalavinna, Balangoda.
Police said that a car, jeep and a lorry were seized. This raid was carried out by the Pinnavala police, while no one has been arrested so far. Further investigations are being carried out into this matter. The police special task force has arrested 3 suspects in Mulleriava along with counterfeit money. The raid was carried out last evening. The police special task force said that 125 bundles of 5,000 rupee notes were seized from the suspect. Police said the seized counterfeit money is worth more than 1 billion rupees. The arrested suspect is aged 34, 37 and 42, have been identified as residents of Angoda and Mulleriava. Police also seized the vehicles belonging to the arrested suspects. The STF said the suspects, the seized counterfeit money, were handed over to the Mulleriava police.
A fire had erupted at a house in Kothmale belonging to the State Minister of Estate Housing and Community Infrastructure Development, Jeevan Thondaman.
According to the police, the fire had erupted between 2 and 3 a.m. After 4 hours, the officers of the Nuwara Municipal Council, Kothmale Police and area residents were able to douse the fire. Our correspondent said a security guard and the caretaker were inside the house when the fire had erupted. No casualties have been reported thus far. It has been reported that 3 generations have lived in the house, which was built in 1883. Antiques in the house have been destroyed by the fire. According to our correspondent, the damage and the cause of the fire have not been ascertained as yet. Further investigations are underway. Meanwhile, another fire had erupted at a house in Valigapola. The entire police billet had been destroyed by the fire. The fire had erupted between 8:30 and 9 last night. After an hour's attempt, the Balangoda Municipal Council and the area residents were able to douse the fire. The cause of the fire is yet to be identified.
Previously, we have reported about the Matra Valimaga main road being in a dilapidated state. The authorities who acted accordingly renovated this road and opened it to the public.
This is the main road from Matra to Veligama, which is about 18 kilometers. We reported on this dilapidated road in 2017 and 2018 June. According to our correspondent, after this, the authorities took the necessary steps to renovate the road. This was the state of the road before it was renovated. Accordingly, the renovation of this road commenced a week ago under the leadership of the governor of the southern province. After 1 week of renovation, this road was open to the public yesterday. This is the manner in which the road from Matara to Veligama via Sultanagoda and Varakapitiya was tarred. The villagers say that with the renovation of this road, it has become easy to get to the city to fulfill their needs.
Well, that of course is the wrap of lunchtime news here on TV1. For more news, log on to our award-winning website www.newsfirst.lk. For the Newsfirst team, I'm David Paldano. Take care.